Good morning. I'm shutting my speaker off over here. I'm charging it up. I've been playing a lot of music since I got out of the unit. And this is like the second time in the week I've had to charge it up. And the battery in my portable speaker, in case you've never seen my portable speaker, this is my portable speaker. I actually put this in my car and turn on the Bluetooth for my phone, and that's how I listen to music. I play playlists through that. That's, because actually it's weird. I had to replace the battery in my car one day, and my radio has an anti-theft device on it, and I've never been able to get the code to get the radio reactivated. So, and not only does the radio not work, but the CD player doesn't work either. That's just the way it goes. The CD player was wearing out anyway. I was starting to have difficulty where you couldn't get the CD to eject. You'd have to sit there, press it 3 or 4 times to get it to come out. Just, what can I say? So it's me. You know who me is by this time. If you don't, I'm Cassidy. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on my blog, or right now this is going out live on YouTube. And I still haven't figured out how to actually get people to tune into a live YouTube stream. I might have to figure that out. But there's a couple of things I want to get. Hold on a sec. I know, I should have prepped ahead of time. I'm horrible. Thursday was my birthday. I turned 61 years old. Yes, 61. Yeah. Finally into the 6th decade. Really, when you think about it, 1 through 10 is the first decade. So 11 through 20 is your second. So I'm actually starting my 6th decade of living. If you want to consider this living. But that's another story. Let's not go there. So since I'm by myself, I decided I was going to buy my own gifts. I actually did get a couple of gifts from people. I got the book Aurora by Kim Stanley Robinson, which was a book I wanted pretty bad. And I also got what they call a mermaid shawl. Somebody made me a mermaid shawl. It actually arrived the day I got out of the unit. So it was waiting for me here on May 1st. And then I received my book yesterday on May 4th. Which I guess that means today is May 5th, which is Americans get drunk thinking it's Mexican Independence Day. Because it's not Mexican Independence Day, but I think actually Mexican Independence Day, if I remember correctly, is 16th of September. And 16 of September in Spanish is a little more difficult to say than Cinco de Mayo. As I told somebody this morning, it doesn't matter. Americans have never needed an excuse to get blackout drunk. And this is one of them. This is, face it, we have St. Patrick's Day, or as we used to call it in Chicago, Drunk Teenager Day, back in the day when they didn't give a shit about carding anyone, and you would see people 15 years old pass out in the gutter. And then we have Cinco de Mayo, which is, again, another excuse to just get totally blotto and keep all the Uber drivers busy tonight. And then, of course, 4th of July, when you can play that challenging game of, am I hearing fireworks or gunshots? Followed a few months later by Labor Day, where we just wind down and say, fuck it, summer's over. Let's get drunk. So I did buy a couple of gifts for myself. The first one, it's a GoPro selfie stick. It really is. This is a selfie stick. And it's one of these that I can actually extend it. Yeah, see, like that. Yeah, I can extend, so I can have like take photos like that, of me doing my video. And it's real simple because watch this. I'll turn it on. It's on now. I'll put it on photo. And GoPro has voice actuation. So watch this. GoPro, take a photo. And there's the picture. See? That's the picture of me. That's what it looks like when I'm actually doing my videos. And I'll upload that later. I'll actually put that on the blog so you get a chance to see it. I thought this would come in nice. And one of the things that's really cool about it, if I can ever get the GoPro Studio to work properly, which it doesn't, is that this is not only a selfie stick, but here, it's a tripod. It has a little tripod in there. So you can actually screw this into the base. See what I'm doing? And voila. You have a mini tripod that you can sit here and, like, if you're out in public someplace, you can actually just, can basically film myself out in public, just like that. It's really kind of cool when you look at it. It has all these different functions. And yeah, I'm all about GoProing myself. I mean, people see my videos and footage all the time, especially when I'm out skating. So, and speaking of skating, among other things, no, I didn't buy any wheels or new skates or anything like that. I decided I would get something else that would help me. I've been wanting these for a while. And what I ended up getting was a pair of Bluetooth wireless sports headphones. Because my others, I got tired of ripping the cords out. So you see, just put those in. I'm still learning how to get them in. Just like that. And the cord really should go behind my head. I think the way you're actually supposed to do it is like this. And then there you go. Now, volume control is right here. And I've already tested them out. It works off my computer. I haven't tested it on my phone yet. But, I mean, I can Bluetooth to my mini speakers, so I don't imagine I'll have any problems Bluetoothing to this. I may have to change these. These things actually go inside your ear, this part right here. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get it to set properly. This one, for some reason, my right ear is always screwed up. I can never get anything to set properly in that ear. But there, yeah, that's how it looks. So that was my birthday gift to me because, my family never gets me anything. I haven't gotten anything from my family in years. I think the last present I got from my wife was a pillow for Christmas. Thank you. That was actually, I think 2015. So what's been happening? Geez. Well, like I said, I had my birthday Thursday. I was fine. I went out for a quiet dinner by myself. Did not get depressed, did not get upset. The meds, they seem to be doing the trick. I haven't done my intake for outpatient therapy yet. I'm still working on that. Probably going to start on that on Monday. But I've gotten the ball rolling on getting county assistants to help pay for all this shit. But the meds, seem to be doing good. I've switched over to a nighttime schedule because my antidepressant can cause drowsiness. And so they recommend you take it at night. So now I'm taking all my meds at night. It's easier that way. That way I'm not taking the Spiro and aspirin in the morning and my antidepressant at night. I do have a tablet for anti-anxiety, which is to be taken as needed. It also can cause drowsiness. I'm not taking that right now. That's, again, something I have access to if as needed. The one thing I've noticed is that my antidepressant is really not making me drowsy. I took it the night of my birthday. Actually, I took it around 10:15 or so, and I did not go to bed until after 11:30, and it didn't make me drowsy, but I've been sleeping real well since I came back. And that's been working well for me, like that. So if you have noticed, I have begun writing again. Since it is Mermaid, I've started on a mermaid story, and I haven't actually gotten back into the novel simply because I think part of the stressors that I was feeling in the first 4 months of the year and toward the end of last year had to do with the feeling that I needed to produce in the novel. And it was just wearing me out. And it was part of what was hurting me mentally. So I'm working on this news story, which I'm actually just plugging into my blog. I'm not actually putting it in Scrivener and then copying it over. In fact, probably what I'm going to do today is copy the first 5 that I've already done and put them in a Scrivener format so I could print it or ebook it if I want to. I actually find that it's kind of more relaxing. It feels like I'm not doing as much work. I still find myself like getting distracted every once in a while, but yesterday I actually produced about 800 words. The day before that I produced about 600. So I'm kind of getting back into that swing, and it's taking me, about an hour and a half to write. So I'm not spending a huge amount of time writing. That's got to get back into it slowly. But I've kind of like stepped back from the novel a bit. It doesn't mean I've abandoned it. It just means I don't want to feel like I have to go back to it and start working on it simply because I don't want to stress myself. I've caught myself doing some of my old habits in the last couple of days. And I've kind of shut it down. You begin to realize, wait a minute, I'm slipping back into something I used to do. So I've kind of caught myself and said, stop, rewind, step back, relax, don't let this get to you. And so far it's been working. But next week I'll be doing an intake to get like some outpatient therapy, where I can get a therapist and possibly a psychiatrist in case they need to monitor my meds. So one of the things we had discussed was the possibility of going up to 45 milligrams of Retinol. That's what I'm taking for depression. Right now I'm taking 30 milligrams. So we'll see. Actually, if I start taking 2 pills of Retinol, I'll be doing about 60. That probably would get me nice and mellow. The nice thing I've noticed is that I don't feel like a zombie. I'm actually functioning pretty nicely when I'm out and about in public. So that's good. That's really the thing you want. The first time I was on meds after I went into a unit in 2008, they had me on so much shit. I mean, literally, I was taking about 400 milligrams of 4 different meds, really. I mean, it was just like they had me jacked up. And it was enough for me to function and get through the day and basically work without feeling stressed out. but I just didn't feel like doing anything else. That was really the biggest problem I had, was I just felt like, I'm not doing anything. I don't feel anything. And that tends to happen when you get like really zoomed up on meds. You just can't. You can function, but you can't feel. That's how I look at it. You're just kind of going through the motion day by day. I don't want to do that. I've done it once. I didn't like it. Medication is, it's a trick. You have to play with it to learn how to do it. And please don't anyone start giving me advice about, well, there are natural alternatives to pharmaceuticals. Yeah, and I've tried those natural alternatives to pharmaceuticals. I've tried St. John's wort. It doesn't do shit for me. I took so much St. John's wort one day, I got sick to my stomach because I thought maybe that would help. I know in some countries they'll prescribe it for people with really mild anxiety and depression symptoms. That's not me. Mild does not apply in my case, but years ago I tried St. John's wort. In fact, that was one of the things I was trying back in 2007, early 2008, before I actually put myself in a unit because of suicidal ideation. And it wasn't working. I've tried weed. Yes, I have tried weed. Yes, it does get rid of your depression. Unfortunately for me, I can't function under weed. And I think if I smoke enough of it that it no longer is a problem for me to function, I don't think it's going to solve the depression. And again, without proper counseling and stuff like that, it doesn't do any good. I've tried all the natural remedies. So, right now, Big Pharma is keeping me alive. Let's look at it that way. And I don't care. Some people do need to have their brain chemistry adjusted. And I'm one of those people. And marijuana, I have smoked it. I've smoked it for decades. I was smoking pot when a lot of your parents were embryos. I was smoking pot when some of your parents were probably toddlers. So, don't start lecturing me on smoking pot. The first time I smoked weed was in 1971. That should give you an idea. I've been doing it for a while. So, yeah. And that was back in the day when it was some heavy duty shit. When we talked about dime bags, we would actually get a baggie, a literal sandwich baggie full of weed for $10. That was where we got the original term dime bag. Nowadays, it's like like $50 for something that big, and that's usually bad weed. You want the real good shit, it's a lot more. That's one of the reasons why I stopped smoking weed. It's like, holy shit. Are you kidding me? $200 for that? That was like one joint back in the day when I was a kid. So, yeah, there you go. They have their place, but in my case, no, they don't. There's some of us, walking the woods and toking a joint is not going to help our depression. So don't go there. Unfortunately, I've been lucky that no one has. That's what I like. No one has tried. Have you tried doing? Yeah, I have tried doing that. Shut the fuck up. Get away from me. I was actually thinking of going out skating today. It's going to be nice. It's actually going to be in the mid 70s. Right now it's in the low 60s, getting up into the mid 60s. But I'm just kind of not enthusiastic about it. I've been off skates for more than a couple of weeks now. And I do need to start again, but No, I'm not going down to practice. I'm not allowed to. That was my phone reminding me I could go to a Saturday practice in New York in a half hour. Unfortunately, I'm in Derby jail, so I can't go to practice. I'm not even sure if they have practice today. York has their practice every other Saturday, and I can't remember if this is a Saturday they actually have practice or not. It doesn't matter. I'm in Derby jail. I'm 2 weeks into almost 2 weeks into my suspension, with another 2 weeks to go. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of having a hard time wanting to get back into skating. I've had quite a lot of time to think, which is one of the problems. I mean, when you're in the unit, everything is regimented. I mean, it's like being in jail. And in order to keep you from getting bored, they keep you busy with a schedule. But even then, you still have time to think. I also had a lot of time to read. I went through 2 full novels while I was in the unit. In 8 days, I read Space Odyssey, which is sort of a non-fictional. It's a non-fictional account of the filming of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time, and which will be playing in selected theaters starting 18th of May in 70 millimeter with a restored print. And you better believe it. I want to find a theater where they're playing that goddamn movie, and I want to go see it, because I actually saw it in the original 70 millimeter when it came out, like not long after my 11th birthday. And I want to see it again. I think it'll be right around 50 years if I go see it again on like the 18th or the 19th. And I'm going to find a theater. If I got to drive to Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia to see this goddamn movie, I'm going to see it. Because it's just one of the best. I mean, I know a lot of people just bum on it and they say, oh, yeah, it's boring. No, it's one of the best films ever. And I also read American Gods, the unedited version with all the words put back in that Neil Gaiman wanted, including his like 5-page section where he put Jesus in American Gods. Yeah. I went through both those novels. In fact, I finished American Gods the day I was checking out. I finished it early, and I finished it in the morning. So there you go. I went through 2 novels in 8 days. So, yeah, but getting back to writing, you have a lot of time to think. And one of the things about not being able to have anything to do with my team right now is that when I was in the unit, one of the things my doctors, my mental health professionals kept bringing up is the fact that, well, your teammates brought you in here and got you to check in. That's a great support network to have. You're really lucky to have teammates like that, and you should use them as your support network. Well, I would if I wasn't in Derby jail. That's really kind of the bitch about it. It's a double-edged sword. I'm not able to do anything with my team right now. I can't do any extracurricular stuff with them. I'm not allowed to have anything to do with York. Technically speaking, I'm not even allowed to go to practice at another league if I wanted to. I could get in trouble for that. It could be, seen as violating my suspension. But my mental health professionals think that it would really be a good thing if I was back with my team, because they're my best support network. And that was one of the things I actually tried to impress upon people, and it just idea. Here's the idea. Here's the people. So, yeah. So, 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks ago in Derby jail. And even then, it's going to be longer than that, because I think the soonest I could come back is like the 23rd. The 7th is 2 weeks. I have to check. But I think the 23rd is as soon as I could come back, and then we go into Memorial Day. And then I wouldn't be able to skate again until the 30th. Yeah, needless to say, I'm having kind of an existential crisis right now about my position in the derby world, and in particular with my league. I'm not going to go into any detail about it. Let's just say I'm doing a lot of thinking. And, in a way, I wish I was back with them. In a way, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I had a friend of mine tell me the other day, Derby's not done with you. And I've heard that expression before. In kind of a roundabout fashion. And it actually came from the real Annie. Yeah, my friend Tanya. Back in the days when we were actually fleshing out Annie and Carrie, I told her about all the incidences I had. This was 7 years ago. This was like the summer of 2011. And I was telling her all the incidences I had from like the time I started driving until I was about 21 years old. 20 years old, actually. Where I was in all these car accidents where the majority of them, actually almost all of them, happened without me behind the wheel. With me actually, in the passenger seat. Like, one time a friend of mine tried negotiating a 90-degree turn, and he only made 45 degrees of it. And we ended up in the middle of a plowed field. I mean, literally with the nose of his car almost dug into the ground. I was with a person one time when they lost control of their car, and they sideswiped a bunch of trees on my side. I mean, the windshield was all shattered. I'm like, trees are going by me as we're smacking into them. He sideswiped like 5 or 6 trees before he pulled his car out of it and spun it around in the middle of the road. And it was all on my side of the car, One of the strangest one was a friend of mine had a Trans Am, and he lost control of the car. And there was, on the road we were on, there was this old time garage. You could tell it was built like in the 20s or 30s, stuck into the side of a hill with the house on top of it. And that was kind of common. It wasn't too unusual back then because, it left a lot of room for space upstairs, Well, the front end of it stuck out like, 3-4 feet. And we took the front end off that garage with the Trans Am. And I was not wearing a seatbelt. And when I saw that he had lost control and we were going to hit the garage, I actually slid down in my seat as low as I could go. And I put my hands up, put my hands over my face like this because I figured the windshield was going to shatter. And it did. And when I looked up, there was a 4x4 that had come through the windshield and snapped up and smacked it real hard, shattered it completely. But I figured out that 4x4 came right through where my head would have been. Yeah. Yeah. And the last auto accident I was actually in was the night a friend of mine and me went to see Star Wars. Yes, the first Star Wars movie in 1977. We saw it at the end of June. Actually waited like almost an hour and a half, 2 hours to get in to buy our tickets. And then we did like another 30 minutes inside to see the film. I mean, the house was packed. It was just unbelievable. Afterwards, we stopped and we had a beer. And I was driving around. I mean, at the time, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, let's go to Chicago. But we probably would have never got to Chicago. I think we would have just turned off and went home at some point. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody on the highway. Swear to God, this is back in the days when 2 o'clock in the morning, only people like me, 20 years old, was out driving at that time. And a girl coming back from a party, drunk on her ass, flies through an intersection and almost T-bones me. If you know what a T-bone is, it's like one car's here and she comes this way. Well, she actually hit, like this is the driver's side. She actually hit the back end of, I had a Pinto wagon, and she hit the back end of the car by the wheel well and damn near spun us all the way around. I mean, I was actually doing everything I could to keep the car from rolling. That was the other thing that could have happened, is she could have got the car sideways and rolled us. And I was like fighting the wheel, trying to keep us straightened out. And my friend, he woke up and he was like, "Quit fucking around. What are you doing?" He thought I was screwing around. I said, "We just got hit, man." And then it's like, hold the wheel, keep us on the road. And I did. We went back. The girl was so drunk, she thought we hit her. She had completely flipped her car like 2 or 3 times, at least once, probably twice, and was lying upside down on the roof inside her car on the ceiling. And we dragged her out of the car, and she got belligerent because she thought we had hit her. She was actually starting to fight with the paramedics. And then I started having problems because my neck was hurting. Well, you know where this is going. They took me in. They didn't find anything wrong with me. I went home. Later that day, it was just like I couldn't hold my head up. My neck was just hurting so bad. So my mother, who was a nurse at the time, got me in to see a specialist. And he said, "Oh, you got whiplash real bad." And the aftermath of that was I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks in traction. Had a traction strap on my head like this, stretching my neck out, 10-pound weight. So it was constant pressure. And first week I couldn't even get out of bed, except they'd let me get out to use the bathroom every once in a while. And I got to get out and go down for physical therapy, which was really weird because they'd take me down in a wheelchair, and while I was laying there, they'd take the weight off and they put a neck brace on me before they'd let me get into the chair. And I had to be really careful about sitting up and everything. And man, it was just weird. And afterwards, I wore a neck brace for like 9 months. That's how bad it was. It was just, my neck was so screwed up from that. And I had issues with my neck for years after. I mean, like a couple of decades. I continued to have problems with my neck. I finally got out of situations where I would do repetitive shit with my neck. So the injury kind of healed itself after a while. But yeah, for like 20 years or so after that accident, I mean, until I was around 40, I would have issues off and on with my neck. But getting back to the original thread that I had going before I jumped the fucking rails and went off in a completely different country. I was telling Tanya about all this stuff, and I was like, geez, I shouldn't even really be here. I mean, there were so many times where I could have died, including, what were the odds of me missing out on getting T-boned by like less than a second? It was probably like 1/10 of a second was the difference between getting T-boned and probably killed, and just getting whiplash and being screwed up for, a year. Now, she knows I'm an atheist, and, that's cool with her. She doesn't care. But she said, someone's not done with you. That was what she actually told me back then. She said, someone's not done with you. She didn't want to say Allah or God, or anything like that. She just said, life isn't done with you yet. You have things to do. I don't know what those things are. I wish I did, because there are times when it's like, I don't see any outcome for my life. Don't see it actually going anywhere. I don't see anything actually happening. So when I hear somebody, when she told me that, just like, are you sure? Because It certainly doesn't. It certainly seems like I don't have anything going on. And she says, you're going to do something one of these days. It's life's not done with you yet. Don't look at it as it was over a long time ago. So I've tried to keep that in mind. And that's like, so when a friend of mine said, well, Derby's not done with you yet, I kind of flashed back on that statement. And I was like, well, I'm closer, a lot closer to the end of my life than I am to the beginning. So if life in Derby ain't done with me, I wish the hell they would get here and tell me what they need me to do. Because really, I'm 61. It's not going to get any better from here on out. It's not the eternal spring of youth I'm dealing with here anymore. And, when's it going to happen? When's it coming? I want to know. Because I really do need to have, I really do need to get something in my life. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I used to think it was my writing, but obviously it's not. I don't know. And as far as Derby is concerned, maybe it is done with me. Maybe it's just fucking with me right now. Maybe Derby is done with me. Maybe I took my shot and it just didn't work. And chalk it up as another failure. But at the same time, I don't want to. I actually had a friend that asked me, we were talking about the road that has led up to me being placed in Derby jail right now. And the comment she made was, why are you putting up with all this stuff? Why don't you just walk away? I said, because I really, really, really want to play, even if it's just one game. That's it. Just say, I played. Why did Roy Hobbs go back and play Major League Baseball when he should have been retiring? Yes, granted, the book version of Roy Hobbs was a lot worse than the movie version of Roy Hobbs. The book version of Roy Hobbs, he was a crooked-ass ball player, and he basically got the Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Shoeless Joe Jackson business. Whereas in the movie, they made him out to be a hero. He won everything for the team. Because why the fuck not? We don't want to talk about crooked ass sports players. So I don't know. Maybe it isn't over for me yet. I have to think about it. I really do. But I should get out. I should go out and go skating. And maybe what I'll do is later in the afternoon, I'll go over and skate in the Hack parking lot. And hope there aren't a lot of stones there and try out my shit. My new earbuds and see how they work. At least I won't have to worry about jerking them out when I'm skating. That should be good. And I'll take my selfie stick and maybe I'll actually get photos of me while I'm actually skating. I'll put it on the stick and you can see what I look like when I'm skating, which would probably be kind of weird. I really do like my GoPro. I really do. I wish there was a Steadicam function for the GoPro where you could actually shoot real live video on a Steadicam thing. I actually saw somebody using something like that. It was a handheld, almost like a Steadicam platform where they were holding it while they were filming about. And it got me thinking because they were in the infield getting up real close. I mean, as long as you stay out of the way of the refs and the NSOs, you can get up close to the action and film. And that's one of the things I would love to do with my GoPro. I just love. Maybe this is what I should be doing. Maybe I should just be filming shit. Maybe I should just put myself out there and say, hey, $50, I'll film your bout. Why not? Maybe I'll do that with my team. Anyway, almost 40 minutes. I'm getting down to my last 15 seconds here. I think I've talked enough. Rambled on. So you guys, hey, have a good day. I'm here. I'm back. And I'll see you around. Take care. Bye.